So I've loved Die with a Smile since it came out in August with Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga. It's been number one on Spotify for weeks upon weeks. And finally, in 2025, the first week of January, it finally hit number one on the Hot 100. And I was like, well, what took it so long? And I was like, well, I looked at Hot 100. I said, what kept it from number one? Shabuzi, Bar Song Tipsy. If you would have told me Die with a Smile was 19 weeks at number one, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But Bar Song Tipsy was 19 weeks at number one. Listen, I like the song, but ain't no way that's a 19-week number one song. Maybe 6 weeks, 7 weeks at the most. As the years go along, Die with a Smile will always be with us. Bar Song Tipsy, I don't know. But yeah, so they had this list. This list of songs you see here are Bruno Mars' number one hits on the Hot 100. So we have Nothing on You with B.O.B. 2010. So that was B.O.B.'s song. Just the Way You Are, one of my favorite songs, but women love it. Just the Way You Are was 2010. Grenade, I love Grenade. That early Bruno, we forget about early Bruno Mars, man. That debut album, the Hooligan, that first album was good. Grenade, 2011. Easy come, easy go. Locked Out of Heaven, which sounds like The Police. That was great. When I Was Your Man, it was all right. I'm not a big fan of that, but it was okay. Uptown Funk, I loved Uptown Funk when it came out, but Suburban Weddings killed it. They stopped making it cool. But man, when Uptown Funk first came out with Bruno and Mark Ronson, I was like, man, this sounds like a classic gem from the early 80s. And that's why they got sued. Because it was too close. That's what I like. That song. That's what I like. It's so good. And it's just Bruno by himself in a video. But man, that's what I like. It's so good. Leave the Door Open. We're going back. Now we're going to pandemic times. Leave the Door Open. It's probably one of the most amazing songs I've heard in the past 5 years or so. I was like, what is this? It sounded like it came out of like 1974. Fantastic. And then Die with a Smile. I've always loved Die with a Smile. Bruno coming up with that guitar. I just woke up from a dream. And then Gaga later on, if the party was over and our time on earth was through. That is Record of Song of the Year. It's crazy that they didn't get nominated. Song of the Year they got nominated for, not Record of the Year. I don't even know what they were thinking. So when I'm looking at this list, I was like, okay, these are just Bruno's number one songs. It's crazy that I thought Tease Me with him and Cardi B would have hit number one. I love Tease Me. Because that would have been in my top 5. Tease me, baby. Turn around. Just tease me, baby. Please. Please. This dude is so good, man. He has no peers. If you talk about singer-songwriters from 2010, there's only 2 other people I think are his peers from this era. It's not the gal who's won 4 albums of the year. It's not her. If you told me that Bruno Mars won 4 albums of the year in 15 years, I was like, yeah. Who else is better than him? Her? Ain't no way, brother. Ain't no way. He's the best best male vocalist of his generation. Okay, so if I'm talking about singer-songwriters, I think it's Bruno's probably 1. Ed Sheeran's number 2. We don't give enough love to Ed. Ed Sheeran writes some real pretty songs, man. He's good. And I'll put The Weeknd in there. Like, The Weeknd puts in work, you know. But Bruno's great. So if I'm looking at this list, and I'm saying, like, okay, if I'm compiling my 5 favorite Bruno Mars songs from this list up top, if it's number one hits, I gotta go with, and this is not Prisoner of the Moment. It's not. These songs are just great. Leave the Door Open is number 1 for me. What him and Anderson .Paak did with Silk Sonic is one of the greatest things of the past 10 years. Like I was talking about Bruno and Cardi with Tease Me, and then Bruno just disappeared after that. And we didn't hear nothing from Bruno. And then we go through the pandemic, and then in 2021, him and Anderson pop up with Silk Sonic. I was like, what's this? And Leave the Door Open with those guys in the studio singing that song. Woo, 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 woo. Woo, 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 woo. I was like, this is so. And then when they sing that song live, go watch the Grammy performance of them. That's the thing about Bruno Mars, man, and him and Gaga too. When they're in concert or singing, their vocals go another gear. The problem with this era today is that either A, when people sing live, they sound just like the record, which is fine, or they don't sound as good because it's auto tunes. Bruno is one of the few artists today, when you see him in concert doing a song, he kicks it up a notch. Gaga's the same way because they're great singers, and I miss that so much. Shout out to Anderson Pac dating Mariah Carey or whatever's going on over there. Shout out to him. Okay, so I got Leave the Door Open at number 1. Die of a Smile is number 2. I just, it made me want, I don't know, I played drums as a kid, but it makes me want to grab like a cheap guitar to learn how to play that song. I just like the sound of the guitar, and just hear that jangly guitar. Man, it's so good. Okay, number 3, Nothing on You. Nothing on You is one of my favorite videos ever. It's a beautiful song. It's almost like whatever animation they did in that. I don't know what they did, but man, it's a fantastic looking video. And Lupe Fiasco was originally on it, and some industry stuff happened, and they took Lupe off. And in fact, Bruno wasn't even supposed to be on the song. He was, but they wanted him. He sang on it. It's like, oh, we want you still on this song. It's like, nah, I'm just writing this, producing it. It's like, no, we want you on this song. So I don't know if we would have gotten a Bruno Mars album if it wasn't for Nothing on You, because he was very comfortable just being a writer producer. So okay, so I got Leave the Door Open, Die of a Smile, Nothing on You. Now it gets kind of tricky because I love Grenade, Locked Out of Heaven, and that's what I like. I'm going with Grenade. I love Grenade. Grenade is so, when you listen to those old Bruno Mars lyrics, he went through some stuff. Easy come, easy go, take. He said something about the devil too. But the devil. Ooh, that dude knows how to write. Okay. So that leaves Locked Out of Heaven, and that's what I like. I do love That's What I Like. I'm going to go with Locked Out of Heaven. Because when I heard it, it sounded like Sting and the Police. Feel like Locked Out of Heaven. And then it breaks down. Oh, Locked Out of Heaven's so good, man. Man, I think what's not on here. Like Versace on the Floor, Treasure. Now, he didn't sing on CeeLo's F You, but still, like, that was like the first time I heard Bruno Mars was CeeLo's F You. F you and F you too. And I was like, who wrote this song? It's so good. I love Bruno Mars, man. I don't think the thing that hurt Bruno Mars in this era is that he really didn't, as much as I love like Ed Sheeran in The Weeknd, he really didn't have a whole bunch of dudes that was pushing him. Like back in the 70s, you had Earth, Wind and Fire, but then you had Stevie Wonder and the Jacksons and LTD and the Commodores and the How Players. Like the artists, as great as they were being pushed. Like in the 80s, you had like Prince and Michael Jackson, but then you also had Madonna and Bruce Springsteen and Phil Collins and Bryan Adams, Whitney Houston, just pushing these artists to get better. Like, as great as Bruno Mars is, could you imagine if he was in an era where he was like really, really pushed really hard? He's actually pushing himself. But the beauty about Bruno Mars is he's such a great writer. He could have wrote in the 60s and in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s and now 2010s going to 2020s. He's that great of a songwriter. So if these songs listed, what are your 5 favorite Bruno Mars songs? And what do you think is one of his most underrated songs? I think I'm going to go watch Tease Me Again. Tease me, baby. Turn around and just please me, baby. Please. It was so good.